What do you get when you cross a know-it-all newspaper columnist with an awkward, unsophisticated everyman?
Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure about that right now.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube.
Welcome to Couch in the Rube, our Monday afternoon show presented by our friends at Muskox Quality Flannels. Just around the corner is Father's Day, and there is no better gift than a Muskox flannel for the man, the father in your life that you want to show is appreciated. Give them something, the gift of quality and comfort. I'm telling you, they'll know right away that you care when you give them a Muskox flannel. Visit gomuskox.com where Couch in the Rube listeners can use the promo code FIXITINPOST. Fix it in post, all one word, at gomuskox.com. Be like the Rube. The Rube saved his marriage by making his father-in-law like him. I mean, it was going downhill fast. And then, boom, Muskox flannel. Teresa's happy. Teresa's dad is happy. And the whole thing works. So, gomuskox.com. Jason, how you doing, brother?
What? The urinal or portal.
Pound the bushes.
Hey, what's up, man?
How you doing, brother?
I'm thinking I'm going to change it to J.
Just Jay?
Yeah, J Nick.
J Nick.
J Batt?
Yeah.
J Nick. Why not, right? Well, like, when do you make that move?
G Couch?
When you're adjacent.
Yeah.
Don't ruin it.
Well, G Couch works,
Graham
doesn't
and
it?
G doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
Who calls
G
you
is
G?
Oh,
What's up, G? Like, that has to be like a cool, like, black person to do that. Like, a white guy just can't be like, what's up, G?
Why can't white guys be cool?
It's impossible for us to be cool, especially in this room. I mean, I'm sure there's cool white guys out there. I think I've met a few, but like,
when I was a sports editor in Freeport, Illinois, back in the day,
already,
I had
oh,
there was a part-timer who was in high school called me G Unit. So, there was that.
Hold on. Oh my God.
Story almost worth telling, presented by our friends at Midtown
Money.
Brewing Company. Yeah. G Unit. Yeah. There you go.
Great.
So yeah, that was that. He obviously thought I was cool enough.
Yeah.
So that,
He didn't know much then.
Smart guy. I liked him. I saw good things. He's made it good for himself in life.
Yeah.
So, well, this show took a turn. There's
This
a
show
lot going
sucks already. Ragnow's out for the year. They're out forever. The year.
He's retiring,
He's
right?
retiring.
Yeah, it's more than a year.
I know. Sorry. I've been sitting here for an hour waiting for you. So, I mean, all the thoughts of Ragnow and the Lions season going up in flames. But hey, Michigan State has a new athletic director, J Batt. He kind of looks like the guy I was envisioning, but not as smarmy. Like, he has the smarminess of him, which I was looking for in a new athletic director in this world in 2025.
You wanted smarmy. That was part of the application process. Yeah.
Kind of like, what's the dude, Will Wade, right? Like, kind of a Will Wade kind of vibe, a little Southern charm. I mean, what the guy did at Georgia Tech,
Impressive.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
To get people to pay attention when you don't have a Calvin Johnson or Kenny Anderson playing.
Well, they care about college football, especially at Georgia Tech in the South.
They
That's
do?
one place that they really care. Yeah,
Really? The
they
triple option? They still run that there?
They don't, but they
Oh.
do care about football at Georgia Tech. They do have some disadvantages being right in the heart of the city, and they are in the ACC and all that. But football is one thing they absolutely care about.
Is the column out yet on this guy?
The column dropped. Yeah, I dropped a column
All
of
right, I
like
need to check
12
that
something.
out.
Yeah. So yeah, that redirected the morning. I was supposed to be off this week entirely, but I'm off the rest of the week.
So no one told you that J Batt was on his way to kind of.
I didn't know till Sunday. No, I didn't know. I wasn't. Unlike Pete Thamel, I was not spending my Sunday texting agents to put a bunch of ABC, because it wasn't just Michigan State's AD news. I'll say this about Pete Thamel. I like Pete. He organizes the Final Four media basketball game every year. Nice guy, terrific guy, hard worker, great talent.
Why is it every time you like someone or you say that, I go, okay, what did he do for you? Like, what is it that he incorporated you in, or didn't look through you, or
got to play a pickup game at Hinkle Fieldhouse because of that? Got to do it. I've had some good experiences, but
it's all it takes. You just got to be a little bit nice to people.
Pete Thamel will die with regret.
Wow.
And I'm going to say that because anybody who is calling agents on June 2nd or June 1st, whatever day Sunday was, June 1st, a Sunday in June, who's a college sports writer.
Pound the bushes.
You may make more money than me. You may have a great career, but it is not fulfilling. And you will regret things on your deathbed. That is a thing you regret. Working on a Sunday, June 1st, reaching out to
Weren't you
find
at
those
like a
stories.
track meet or something over the weekend? though?
Saturday. I have regrets about that. Those are other regrets. We all have our regrets.
I mean, what would you rather do here? You know what I mean?
I enjoyed the
I mean,
track
you have
meet.
to look like Pete Thamel. That's the problem.
Yeah.
You go on TV and look like you're constantly sweating. But other than that, I mean, I got to say, if you have to sit there and text around a little bit, you know, and try to read some tea leaves about the new athletic director position.
Wait till Monday, jackass. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, wait till I'm out of town.
Yeah. So I do miss the intro press conference on Wednesday because I'll be in Canada with my mom and sister. So doing the watching the plays and all that stuff. Not going to cancel that trip.
No
with my
three
mom.
quick takes.
I did 3 quick takes today. It was a long. No, I'm not
Right,
gonna
but
do
I
it.
mean, the introductory press conference on Wednesday. I'm kind of sitting there. I'm going to be sitting there refreshing my LSJ subscription.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm not that sad about it for this reason. The thing I
Because Solari will be there.
like least about covering Michigan State is the way they do introductory press conferences, which I completely understand from their standpoint. Like they use the Tom Izzo Gilbert Pavilion entrance to the Breslin Center area, that whole whatever Izzo Hall of History, and it's nice, and they do pomp and circumstance, and you'll have the band there sometimes, and you have a mix of donors and media types, and it's this show, and then they make people accessible, and it works. I'm not saying it doesn't work.
Pound
It's just
the bushes.
it's not my. It's not.
Hayos is he going to be there? He's got to get what, third row?
He's
in
not
the seating
he's
availability?
not first 2 row.
Right. He's not first 2 rows.
Yeah,
but I mean, those goes for the big donors.
So anyway, I don't love those environments. I don't hate them. I mean, that's fine, but it's just, I don't enjoy them. So I'm not minding missing that.
How can we cater to you, Graham? Like, what makes you comfortable here at Michigan State to where we can have an event?
Again, if I were in their shoes, I would do it the same way because it's a good way of doing it. It makes people feel they knock out 2 birds with 1 stone. It's like press conference mixed with fans, and it feels like an event. And I totally get it. Totally get it. Just not my favorite thing. Anyway, should we start to dig into these?
I thought we did.
Picks? Okay. Well, I'll start with
roll right into it.
All right, here we go.
Formal announcement.
Well, I'm with J Batt. It is hard not to be impressed when you listen to him. And there's a good podcast called The Deal, which included Alex Rodriguez. It's a Bloomberg podcast.
I'll pass.
It was a 25-minute conversation. It's pretty good, and you get a sense of J Batt. You can find that. You can find it on YouTube. It is also embedded. The YouTube is embedded in the column I just wrote.
Wait,
as well.
Aaron, who? Alex Rodriguez
is part
interviewed J Batt?
Yeah, he interviewed J Batt.
I might have to listen to that.
Yeah, it's pretty good. No, it's a good interview, and it gives you a good sense. And what's clear is, he fits what MSU needs, right? It's the background. He came up in fundraising, which, if you know people are good who are in fundraising, you understand there's a real art to that and skill to that, and it doesn't always translate to every other. You can have people who are strong in a lot of other areas of leadership, but that's a different skill. And so if you cut your teeth in that and you're real good at it, that makes a difference. And he's worked at a number of places where there have been challenges, like in East Carolina, and then he worked at Alabama, where you're a football behemoth, and he was noted there. And from there, he went on to Georgia Tech, which has some challenges of its own, and was part of a huge fundraising effort. And I think $300 million already in pledges, which includes renovating their football stadium. So the donor relations is something he's very well known for. And I had a donor text me last night about that, and it's
Pound the bushes.
This is a strength, and this is what MSU needed, right? Because right now, what MSU doesn't have, there are things that are in place. There are things that Alan Haller did that will make his life easier. Alan Haller's goal, I remember at one point him telling me, is when the next person comes in, this is long before he knew he was going to be fired, but when the next person comes in, he wants them to be able to hit the ground running. In the sense, in a couple senses, he did that pretty well. Like, there are coaching hires that were made that make the job easier, right? You've got a hockey program that's rolling. You've got a women's basketball program that's promising with a relatively new hire. You just made a second volleyball coach hire, so that person and people like that person, and Kristen Kelsey, and she's going to have some time. So those are your 3 other sports that are really priorities beyond your 2 main priorities, football and men's basketball. And so they're all sort of set. You don't have to worry about that. And you've got some other sports that are doing it. It's not a athletic department with a lot of programs in dire situations that you've got to deal with right away. You can focus on what's really important right now, and that's raising funds and continuing to do so and replenish them over time and give football the resources it needs, and then basketball the resources Izzo needs, and then the coach beyond Izzo. You can work towards setting that up to be at a place that gives MSU a chance to reach its potential, because I do think this hire also speaks to what MSU is a draw. I mean, here's a guy who was making good money at a Power 4 school in the ACC. But MSU is still, at worst, a middling brand in the Big Ten. And that still is a better place to be than almost anywhere else other than the Big Ten or SEC. And so the fact that they were able to get him, and they're paying a fair bit to get him, the buyout's going to be close to $2 million because he just signed a new contract in December at Georgia Tech. It's going to be over $1.5 million a year. It's not a job to save money on, though. You want to get your guy. And the fact that he's willing to leave to go to a Big Ten school speaks to what he thinks the potential of MSU is. And I think MSU should see itself as a place that can be a top 12 school out of the 34. It can be in the top dozen of the 34 SEC and Big Ten schools, and if it reaches its potential. And so that MSU has going for it, and I think this hire speaks to that a little bit. There's a lot to like from afar. Now, obviously, we'll see what he does when he gets to MSU, and there will continue to be some tough decisions to be made. And if he's a good athletic director, there will probably be decisions that are made that offend people and they don't like, and he's going to have to bring his staff in to some degree and organize things the way he wants. And those are hard decisions that affect people's lives and affect sports. And so not everything is going to be hunky-dory, but the idea that this was a move towards elevating football and giving basketball the best chance to give Izzo another chance at getting to a second national title and more Final Fours, raising the money, and he talked about fundraising in that podcast with Alex Rodriguez, the idea of the relationship component and the alignment and the entire athletic department and all that stuff. I mean, he gets it. And so we'll get to see him in action. It seems like a really good hire. And if it's not, then I understand why it was made, at least. You know what I mean?
Whoops. I
understand why it was made. It agrees. Now, I'll say this. A lot of things he says that are really promising and sound great, and you see people talking about it on Twitter. By the way, every Mike Jones, who runs the podcast Can't Read, Can't Write, texted me the other day, and he goes, "It's amazing how many MSU fans have become experts on athletic directors." And it is true. You see everybody out there loving all these things he says and loving things about him. And I think his resume and pedigree is probably the most impressive, because a lot of what he says are things that Alan Haller used to say. And, maybe you don't like the vessel that's saying it to you, but and I think people had lost faith. And I do think his pedigree as a fundraiser and his track record there are something that Haller just couldn't match. And that's the biggest need right now. And so from that standpoint, it's also a big hire for, Kevin Gustowitz,
Gus.
The president. Because before this, when you inherit somebody like Alan Haller or an athletic director, it's not that the buck doesn't stop with you, but there's a little bit of, space between accountability. Like what's going on with athletics, that's not your guy, right? You ultimately, and I think he took ownership when he made the move to remove Alan Haller and the move now to hire J Batt. But this is now his guy. Like his legacy will be part of the success of MSU football and what they're able to do in a difficult time in athletics and a challenging time in athletics will be part of his legacy too. And so this starts to become on him. But from a 10,000-foot view and from everything I've read and watched and listened, I've tried to do that over the last 24 hours a fair bit. It seems like a strong hire. It seems like a really good hire in a number of ways, and we'll see how it plays out.
Did you come to that conclusion after the A-Rod podcast? Were you like,
well, it helped. It helps because you're talking about a podcast. You're talking about an interview that's like a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, a really recent podcast.
And was A-Rod on the staff of the committee to try to find an AD for Michigan State?
He was.
Is that part of it?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Anyway, but you just get a sense of him in a really recent time. So he's speaking about what's happening now in college athletics and how, and so, yeah, it's not just that. I tried to read a number of articles going back a little ways when he was hired at Georgia Tech and other things like that, and what people said about him here and there. But it's obvious that MSU still has some juice to it, some cachet. That somebody like him wants to be at MSU and sees the potential. It's obvious that MSU's president has the ability to go make a move like this, target somebody and land them, which I think is impressive. And then, the hire itself looks like a good one. And I think, the question will be now, it feels like this is a really good hire. You got a lot of things in line. Like if it doesn't work, it's a make or break moment. And you got to give Jonathan Smith a chance to win and give him the resources to do so. And that's now J Batt's job.
So this Wednesday, can I fill in for you?
Sure.
I just want to ask one question.
You can go. You're a member of the media. You can go on your own. You don't have to filling in with me. You can go as Couch in the Rube. You don't have to.
Nobody wants that.
There's no press credential. You can just show up and sit there and watch. They'd be happy
really? I don't have to check in with someone. They don't have to
Well, I mean,
anybody can walk in and just say, you can start up a podcast.
I should be careful. They don't want all our listeners. They don't want 2,000, 5,000, whatever. How many?
Matt C. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Tell them that you're with Couch of the Rube podcast.
That would be funny if they had to fill.
I just want to ask them, J Batt, are you willing to
Pound the bushes.
Do you know of Jim Hios?
Pound the bushes.
Come on, let's pound some bushes, J Batt. And do you have to call him J Batt? Is it Bat J? Are you going to constantly?
It's not Bat J. I don't call you Nick Jason.
I understand. No, I understand that. But is it J Batt?
Well, yeah.
Constantly, is it one of those names where you just say?
I see.
Like I always say, Matt C. I used to call my Uncle Ron, just all the time. Uncle Ron. Grandma Carol, like all these great people in my life. I just used to say the whole thing. So I guess I'll just say J Batt.
I'll probably call him Jay. I can't think
Mr.
of
Batt.
I can't think of anybody. I don't call Tom Izzo.
Is.
Yeah, I mean other people do. I never call Alan Haller or. I mean you call that in second reference when you're referencing to other people, but not to their face. I don't call you Nick.
Yeah, it doesn't. But that doesn't flow off the tongue though.
Okay,
calling someone Nick because it's also a first name, so no one has any idea.
We're going to get into this plenty more, trust me. But you guys, I'll say this: you guys did a nice job on the listener takes, and it's not all that. And there's some other good stuff, and there's some other angles to it. So it should be a good discussion. And hopefully, we'll get to everybody. What is your first take?
Big night.
Fuego, gracias, señor. Vamos, Lions.
Una, dos, tres.
Vamos,
Lions.
All right, so you know how I said 13 wins when we were going over the 2025, 26 schedule?
Yeah.
Frank Ragnow retiring is a big deal, right?
It's not great.
It's not great. And I'm curious about the timing of it. Like, you want to sit there and you hear Frank Ragnow retires and you go, okay, all right, it's football, it's tough, injuries, he's dealt with injuries. I mean, the guy played with a sprained throat or whatever. But I also, when I say that out loud, I also go, but couldn't you grind it out one more year? I mean, it's the NFL. You have the best drugs. Like, you can get away with taking certain drugs to get you through a season. He's 29 years old.
Yeah.
5,500 snaps. He's given up 6 sacks. Like,
I think he'd like
now
to be able
Tate Ratledge. I mean, in June, I know it's technically June, but now in June you decide to retire. I understand it's your prerogative, and these guys they put their bodies on the line. He's been in the league 7 years, but how close we are, and all of a sudden you go, you had to wait for what? What were we waiting for from the end of the season to all of a sudden? In the month of June now.
So the only reason I don't think it's finalized, and I haven't read anything on it, but the timing, I'll explain why I think the timing makes a lot of sense.
But he's got an Instagram, saying his goodbyes.
Yep. And I think he's planning to be done right now. But the reason I think it happens in June is, you see this with the players when they might retire. At the end of every season, you may think you want to retire, but you want to give it a minute. You don't want the emotions of a season, right? You think... And then the other thing that can happen.
Ragnow doesn't have any emotions. Like, this is, I think he could just ride off into the sunset and not give a shit and fish until he dies. And
well, then the other component is sometimes when you've been at something a while, you think, well, at a certain point, I know I'm ready to go again because the juices start flowing. I'm excited. I'm ready to go. And if that doesn't kick back in, like I always think of that in my own job. Like, the summers, I'm not as inspired as I maybe once was to really. What you would say, pound the bushes through the summer, so to speak.
Of course, you have to make this about you, yeah.
I'm not saying, but
sports writing world,
football. If I
NFL.
ever get to August and MSU football season starts, and I go, oh God, I don't want to do this, then it's time for me to do something else. What I'm saying is, for an athlete,
because you've been dealing with injuries,
with an athlete whose body may not be responding right, it may just be physical. But also mentally might just be like, you know what? It's not coming back. Like right now, I'm dreading this. I don't want to go back.
Is the contract negotiations at all a part of this?
I don't know.
I know you don't know. I'm just saying that out loud because it is weird for a guy that can play through pretty much any injury other than amputation to all of a sudden in June 1st to sit there and go, I just don't think I can do it. I don't see him turning around. I think he's one of those guys that you'll just see in another month and a half and he'll be down 100 pounds. And then it's really, really over.
Yeah. No, but I mean, there's always a chance at the end of July he's like, I'm ready to do one more year or something like that, which would help the Lions. Because you're right, it would help the Lions even if they knew this was his last year. You can plan for that, and you give one more year of it. But also, you don't want people in it if they're just not in it anymore, or physically they don't think they can do it.
Even if you're half in it, Frank, I still want you to try to come back because we have no other fucking option at center. So yes, I do. I want you to try. Out of any other position player, I think I would like Frank just to give it another try.
Anyway, okay.
All right. That's all I'm saying. It's just I don't think that we can wrap our head around the loss of this right now because what are we supposed to do going forward? I know that there's a certain amount of time before the season starts. But I got to say, what are our options, especially with a general manager, Brad Holmes, who likes to build from within? Got to have our guy where this scenario screams, please go out and get somebody, right, at the center position. Because what are our options right now?
You have to go. No, there's no question. You have to go do it. You have to.
I don't know if Brad Holmes sees this one. Is this the one time where you have to go outside of your thinking? And try to, I don't know. I mean, how many centers are out there that can plug and play with a guy like Ragnow's experience? That's what's impossible. That's what scares me the most. And I don't think that we've actually, with the announcement coming at noon to try to wrap your head around this shit, I'm just going man. I mean, good luck to you and all that shit. But man, I got to say, if there's one, what if after the fact, Frank, really? Not one more year? You can just grind it. Hell, just try it. Can we bring you in halfway through the season? Do you want to sit out 7 weeks? Come in week 8? Some shit like that? I mean, can we work with this is all I'm saying. Is this just a finality? I know he's on Instagram. Does Instagram official mean it's finally over? But, we have to try something here. Can we send something to his house? Does he want an RV or something we can entice him to come back? I don't care what it is. But he's got to try to come back, right?
You should write him a letter.
I don't know if he wants to read my handwriting, but maybe I could just type it out or something like that. But if that's what it takes, I would try to do that. Because out of all the guys that you could name right now, if you want me to bring one guy back and beg him to come back, I think it would be Frank Ragnow.
I have a quick question for you. Are we live on YouTube now or not? It doesn't look like it when I clicked on the thing. I could be wrong.
I see live.
You see live. You see we're good.
I see 37 concurrent viewers and no complaints in the chat.
Okay. The chat's not showing up for me. Okay. I was a little worried.
No, it's okay.
Yeah,
I totally understand your panic.
You know me. I panic unnecessarily most
Did you
of the time.
miss any of my Frank Ragnow? You want me to do the whole takeover
again? If you would
again?
do the takeover from the start, it would be fantastic. Meanwhile,
Big night.
did you have any other takes before we...
real quick.
Yep.
Went and saw Mission Impossible yesterday. And you can't really talk about the movie because I don't want to spoil it, although you pretty much know Tom Cruise does his stunts and all that. I have to say, I didn't think it was very good. I thought the last one was way better. More stunts. In this one, there was some underwater stuff. And also, I don't know if I was super stoned on the last one, but the acting in this one, I didn't have as many MGs yesterday. The acting is so bad. And I know it's supposed to be bad, right? I guess. An action movie. Are all the Mission Impossibles really that bad of Angela Bassett was in it. The guy from, what's the guy with the beard on Community? Anyway, but he was in it. There were some good actors in it. And Tom Cruise, of course. But is it because people can't tell Tom Cruise, hey, man, this is pretty bad? Because the acting in it is really, really cheesy. The stunts that Tom Cruise does, they're the best, top notch. And I was glad I went and saw it. But I will say, and maybe someone can tell me if you've seen it, I just don't think it was one of the better ones. And I don't believe that this is the last one. If you don't buy Frank Ragnow retiring, there's no way they left it wide open.
How old does he look in this? Does it look realistic that he can still play these parts?
No.
Okay.
I got to say with plastic surgery and him looking like Tom Cruise, but then if you have any reality, you go, okay, that's a 60-something-year-old guy. And my favorite part about Mission Impossible is the running. Tom Cruise, for some reason, must have written in the contract, he has to run in the scenes. And I was sitting there laughing my dick off in the movie theater every time he would run. So that was one of the better parts for me. But
Part of the deal.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, to each his own. I guess I would say if you like Tom Cruise, you like the Mission Impossible series, obviously go see it. But please tell me what you think of it. But it wasn't one of the better ones.
Well, that's good to know. I won't go. I can give you lots
3
of
hours.
I can give you lots of suggestions. You don't always take my suggestions, but I can give
Rarely
you some.
ever. But with a 3-hour movie, should we start putting like intermissions in? Like Tom Cruise did the thing at the beginning of the movie, thanking everybody for coming, right? Could he do that in the middle and go, "Hey guys, on me, bathroom break"?
I would love an intermission,
Right, and a countdown clock from like 4 minutes down.
Yep.
And where we all get to go refill our popcorn, refill our pop. Only
100%.
on movies that are 3 hours plus.
2.5 is good.
I'm with you on 2.5. I just figured 3 plus, but yes, I'll go 2.5.
Anything over 2, I'd like a break. And it would encourage people not to check. You can check. You can check your phone for those people for all that. Yeah.
And I know you're trying to give us value, the 3-hour action-packed 3 hours, but it's not always the case. A nice solid 2 hours, jam-packed 2 hours. That's what people want. More or less is more.
Yeah. All right. Before we dig into our listener hot takes, I want to talk about the most entertaining thing I saw this week, presented by our friends at Xfinity Comcast. Did you see the Carlos Alcaraz Ben Shelton match at the French Open?
I did
chance?
not.
It was
I wish I
incredible.
did.
Oh my gosh! 4 sets, some of the highest level tennis I've seen outside of like an Alcaraz Djokovic match in a long time. Alcaraz Sinner type. I mean, Shelton raised his game and the pace of his forehand, which I think both he and Alcaraz set records for the tournament, or at least for this tournament, with their forehands. Just the shots they were going after, the shots they were making, the fact that after losing a really heartbreaking tiebreaker, Shelton didn't wither, and he won a set after he was down 2 sets, and he had a chance in a third. It was just the mental toughness and the physical. I mean, it was one of the best. There are very few matches that I watch where I just cannot take my eyes off. I was on a treadmill. I went 10 miles Sunday. 10 miles, of course, watching Xfinity Comcast on my TV. And by the way, Xfinity Comcast has all the French Open stuff on TNT. They've got great great bundling packages with some streaming services as well. If you go to Xfinity.com, and that's where I'm log in. If I ever want to upgrade and just add some more Mexican soccer, a French soccer league, whatever it might be, I can easily do that online, cancel it the next month. It's very easy. And if you're not into all of that, which not everybody is, by the way, and you don't want to spend $1 million on everything you do, and by the way, it really is, especially when you bundle it with internet, cable through Comcast Xfinity is very, very affordable, and much more so than a lot of the streaming services all put together. But they also have the new sports and news TV package. It's available for Xfinity customers, featuring 50 broadcast news and sports channels, including top sporting events, French Open, you name it. TV package with sports and news, $70 per month when combined with Xfinity Internet. All right, so that's a really good deal. They also have Now Mobile, a new prepaid service that includes unlimited 5G data combined with access to more than 23 million Wi-Fi spots, and Now Internet backed with the most reliable Xfinity network. No contracts or credit checks. Pay by month. Always good for Jason. Pay by month and no contract, online anytime. One of the other things they do really well at Xfinity is their cellular mobile service. It's the same network as Verizon, a lot less expensive. Go to Xfinity.com and check all of that out. That is the most entertaining thing I saw this weekend, presented by our friends at Xfinity Comcast. Are we ready to dig into these takes?
Yeah, man. Dominic up first. Number 1, I chased the under all Friday night with the Tigers in Kansas City and lost my ass. Basically sat out Saturday and Sunday, and both games are 1-0. Fuck gambling. 2, I had a lovely day date with a girl on Sunday. I'm enthused by the fact that she's cute, funny, intelligent, and that I have no empirical evidence that she's a full-fledged prostitute. Attaboy. 3, the odds that Ebling is going to discuss the J Batt hire and say, Michigan State took a big swing with this bat, is minus 500. Me projectile vomiting all over my dashboard when he does it is the best 2009 Grand Bet of all time. And that is way low. It's minus 950 now.
Yeah. The odds are
come
up.
on.
You can't get that anymore. You can't get
the
minus
pun
500.
king,
Yeah.
the bat.
Oh.
Oh, shit.
It's going to be brutal.
Woo.
Yeah, brace yourself.
We got to get out of here early for that.
Yeah.
So, anyway, anything else there? Okay, Southern Spartan next. Number 1, I grew up in Georgia, and I keep tabs on what the local teams do. J Batt did a great job in 3 short years at Georgia Tech and will help raise funds for all sports for years to come. And 2, Batt will get Spartan Stadium the facelift it needs, but by selling the naming rights like he did for Bobby Dodd Stadium.
At some point, that's where this is all headed, and you can still have Spartan Stadium, this Spartan Stadium. You can still, and for a lot of people, it'll always be Spartan Stadium. But in this day and age, like, the naming rights can be the difference between a left tackle every year or having a, women's soccer program, whatever it is.
But isn't it like Twitter going to X? You just keep calling it Twitter, like just keep calling it Spartan. Throw any thing you want on there.
Eventually you do get there, I think. It depends on, and it's different for everybody. Some people do call it X now. And, like, for example,
name one person.
Well, I mean,
other than Elon.
Formally, I mean, we always say X now, or we have to say it in writing. We have to say X, at least, because it's official. I mean, there are other things like Division 1AA and FBS, and FCS, sorry. That eventually just became SCS. For years, you had to say formerly 1AA, and then it just became FCS. Like, people said it enough. But, you're right. I don't know if it would ever be, and you want Spartan Stadium somewhere on there. But, yeah, I guess that's not how naming rights work.
Walmart Spartan Stadium. It's catchy. John, naughty. Within 2 years, Michigan State's AD will sell the naming rights to corporations who haven't donated to Lansing Promise.
Who haven't donated to Lansing Promise.
Have not.
That would be bad news. They should donate to Lansing Promise first, and then sponsor the stadium. But you could also have, look, this is just the way the world works, and it's the way it works in every pro sport. And I think there are a lot of things in college sports that are harder for people to stomach than having corporate names on a stadium right now. Yeah, it would annoy people, but if you've got a nicer stadium or your team is winning, or I just think that there are other elements of it that are more annoying. It's just sort of the way life is, and we all adjust to it. And there are also good corporations and good sponsors like ours. So.
Well said. Andrew Gauthier. Number 1, J Batt just looks like a dude who knows people with money. And 2, eating an absurdly large bucket of popcorn while watching Tom Cruise almost die several times on screen has got to be a uniquely American experience.
I think they may do it in Europe, too. These movies are popular worldwide, but it does feel...
Not as good as The Equalizer, though.
The movie or the show?
The movie. Rest in peace to that TV show.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate cancellation.
Did it ever actually exist? I don't
Oh, it did. 55 million people could not disagree.
Speaking of great sponsors and our friend Andrew Gauthier, this Friday, people should know, because we're not going to do another show because I'll be out of town before Friday, is National Donut Day. So you may celebrate a lot of holidays. This is one you should focus on because it's a day about joy and happiness for everyone. Doesn't matter what religion you believe in. Doesn't matter anything else. National Donut Day. They've got really cool stuff going on at Groovy Donuts, including a free classic donut for all online pre-orders. 24 hours notice is required for pre-orders. Free classic donut with the purchase of 1 dozen donuts, and then special coupons for all customers who visit. And this week's specialty donut is and they do a donut a week, all the time. It's the Pothole Donut, which is really cool. Inspired by a Michigan spring and summer feature. The Pothole Donut is a deliciously rugged treat, light, fluffy yeast ring donut topped with rich chocolate icing, crushed Oreo crumbles, and a drizzle of creamy peanut butter. Very good. This Friday, National Donut Day. They're open 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. 2 locations, Lake Lansing Road in East Lansing and Williamson.
Jebediah next. A+ AD hire for MSU. Terrific history of fundraising that will match perfectly with MSU's large alumni base. MSU athletics are back. And from Kurt Wisniewski, MSU landed one of the best ADs in the country. The work Jason Batt did at Alabama and Georgia Tech was outstanding. Rallying alumni donors at Georgia Tech is no small feat.
Yeah, a lot of home run hire talk. A lot of this is, and it is from the out. This is a win the press conference hire, and and there's no evidence that it's not a great hire. It's a challenging time, so obviously the work still has to be done, and you've got to convince a few very key donors, and I think also expand that donor base as well. I think there's a lot of work to be done, and there's also work within your department. You got to make this work, and you've got to make a lot of the people who are already there also fit, because while you can reshape it to some degree, you don't. It's very hard to come in and just you don't want to start completely over, and you got a lot of good people there, and so it'll take a little bit of time, but there's no doubt this looks like a good hire from the outside.
Pound the bushes.
David Jackson, my high school classmate with a Georgia Tech degree, told me today that our new AD is top-notch. Therefore, it's undeniably confirmed. Batt is a great hire. Someone should ask Batt if he feels guilt over the 1990 Kenny Anderson game theft now that he's one of the good guys. But I think David should go after my question. It should go right to David asking J Batt about the 90 Kenny Anderson thing.
Even though he was, the one thing I don't like about J Batt is he's younger than you and I are. He's 43.
I was 11 when that Kenny Anderson thing happened.
So he was 9, and then he went to North Carolina where he was a soccer goalie. So I don't know that he was as invested in Georgia Tech as he was for the last 3 years, his only real association with the place. David also has a baked one in here, too.
Oh, baked. The big question is how Couch will refer to Batt in print from now on in his columns. A, Jason J. Batt. 2, Jason Batt. C, JJ Batt. D, J Batt. And E, quote, J Batt. Quote, unquote, J Batt.
But there's no period with the J2, which I always find interesting. It's always, so it's just J Batt.
Just hovers over there.
I am curious where it came from and why he goes by it. That part of it will be asked, but he'll be called whatever he wants to be called.
Well, his name's Jason. He just cuts it to J.
I'm just saying, but
a lot of people called me Jay when I was younger.
And Harry still calls you Jay. I don't
he
think
does call me Jay.
Does he know your name's actually Jason?
That's up, for debate. There's a lot of MGs and weed sodas flowing through both of our veins. So, I don't really care.
By the way, the week Harry had over at the Champions League final and everywhere else he was overseas right now, Harry is just
seeing Bruce Springsteen.
Oh, my God.
Soccer shit was boring to me, but when he was texting us his weekend, I'm like,
what a life that man.
What is going on here, dude? Does he smuggle cocaine? What is it, pink cocaine for Diddy? Matt C., next. Absolute home run hire for President G. Proven track record of fundraising, strong business acumen, and is helping design the system with rev sharing. Bravo. And first order of business for Batt, number 1. Acknowledge we aren't taking a back seat to Michigan anymore, unlike Haller, who got railroaded by them. 2, cancel a debt-financed Olympic Park that has zero return on investment and will hurt MSU financially. 3, get some money for some defensive line talent. And bonus, I hope Couch hates this hire because then I'll for sure know it's going to work. # pound the bushes.
Pound the bushes.
Oh,
what do you think of the hire, Couch?
Yeah, well, I like it, unfortunately.
Oh.
So it's going to go horribly. A couple things here, and he is part of a group of administrators who are part of trying to, in other words, he's in the inner workings of designing the system for the rev share and all that. And I need to read more on his role in that, and I'm curious to talk to him about that. And so he may be, that could be a plus as well, at least in terms of his understanding of things. We'll get into the Olympic Park thing in a minute and the other. But I do think, I do think these are unfair shots at Haller at this point. Look, he may be a better AD for Michigan State than Haller right now and for this time. And obviously the president of the university, who I think is a smart guy, thought that, right? He fired one and he hired another. And but I also think Haller did some really good stuff that set MSU up to not have to deal with, set Batt up to not have to deal with everything. And he can deal with what really needs to be focused on right now because he doesn't have to worry about the state of the women's basketball program or, MSU hockey being on its 10th straight losing season or any of that stuff right now with programs that cost money that would need attention if they weren't in good shape.
Scott, you next. Number 1, do you see MSU delaying the timeline on the Spartan Gateway District with the change in AD? I assume the new AD will look at MSU's books and see focusing on football is where 90% of the revenue will be generated from. And 2, the Club World Cup is a cash grab and will be watered down due to player, rightfully so, resting for next year's World Cup. I'm still intrigued, though, to watch the teams from Mexico, Argentina, and Brazil. Lots of fun soccer played in those leagues.
That's the thing. It is a cash grab. It's not. I wish it wasn't happening, but I'm still going to watch it, right? It's one of those things. Because I don't like that soccer players are overworked to the point that, they break down. There are too many injuries. I hate there's too much international play outside of club play, and then this is way too much club play. So I wish the Club World Cup didn't exist, but I will watch it. To the first question about the Spartan Gateway District and the new arena and all that stuff, I don't know how far that stuff is along and whether the new AD would be able to reverse anything there and how much, the whole Gateway thing is not just the arena, the Gateway project, the whole district is much more than just the arena. And so if there's a lot of stuff that goes well beyond the athletic director, and so I don't know that gets changed. I'll be surprised if it changes because you still have to nurture those other programs, and it's expensive for MSU volleyball to play at Breslin, and Jenison's falling apart. And if you can have the best of both worlds, the real question is, can you raise enough money to do all the things you want to do? But you do need a good place, I think, for MSU volleyball. Now, MSU gymnastics, if you want them to sustain where they are, they need something else. That said, and they're recruiting to the assumption they're going to have a new arena. That said, it is not considered like one of the other primary sports. But I think as long as they're winning and the investment has been there, they're going to try to keep it up, keep the program where it is, and they too could use a new arena. MSU wrestling, different deal. We just don't hear from them much. It's just not a sport where there's a lot of emphasis. And if you're talking about sports that, if I were an AD looking to save money, and I do think sports around the country will be cut at a place like MSU, I'm not sure that's a sport that would make it.
Trey Davis next. What would 9-3 with a win over Michigan do for MSU's football program under Jonathan Smith?
Everything. I mean, can you imagine this show if MSU goes 9-3 and beats Michigan on the way to a 9-3 record? Like the whole season. First of all, you beat Michigan, it just changes the tone and the vibe.
Yeah, we don't have enough time for all of that.
If you go 9-3, you're going to be on the cusp of the playoff. Whether you get in or not will be close, depending on who you beat and how who you lose to and all that stuff. But you'll be in the conversation through the whole season. People will feel so good about if they went 9-3 and beat Michigan. The vibes would be incredible around these parts.
Max next. Number 1, Spartans winning cures everything. 8 wins and everything is forgiven, at least for a while. 10, and we will be talking extension, playoffs, and wait. That is probably a bake take. 2, Tigers make the playoffs, but lack of offense catches up with them. As the past 2 games indicate, they can go stretches without scoring, and that will kill them in the postseason. I mean, but Kansas City has some pretty good pitchers there.
They do. And the one thing I am watching is, they got out to this huge run differential early, the Tigers did, where they were above 80 runs, plus 80 runs, and it's pretty much stayed the same. I think it's gone from like 83 to 86 or whatever over the last, month. So they're at basically a 0 run differential for a month, even though they're still winning more than they're losing. So that is the one thing, you pay a little bit of attention to. Are they still but
what should it be at right now? Like 100?
Well,
I mean, they got off to a pretty good start.
Correct. And I would point the 84 Tigers, which everybody talks about their 35-4 start or 34-5 or whatever it was. That team basically played 500 baseball the rest of the way and won the World Series. But it was such an amazing start. They were way ahead of everybody. So I mean, it's just hard to not have lulls. I don't think it's a perfect roster, but again, when Austin Meadows comes back, and we'll see where they are. There might be, if they're this team. And at this point, they're going to be well above 500 heading into the All-Star break and trade deadline. And what they need is something. They ought to go get it because this is a team that has a chance. And you want to, you also, we've talked about this before, you may only have Skubal for 2 more playoff runs. Well, maximize those. If you get, if you lose Tarek Skubal, but you got 3 playoff runs with him and you wind up with a World Series out of it, that'll be easier to stomach than not, right? And so, maximize that.
John Johnson, the D'Antonio lightning in a bottle convinced the fan base that MSU is closer to Ohio State than they are Northwestern, and that's ruined the opportunity for any enjoyment going forward. D'Antonio was doing it with 3 stars. Try that approach now, and you're just the farm system.
Well, you are and you aren't. So here's the thing I think is key for any program, especially programs like MSU in college football, and when you're trying to raise money to have NIL, there are 2 prongs to this. One is, can you recruit guys in the portal or out of high school who require a lot of money to get them, right? That's part of this, and you got to be able to do that to some degree. And there's an argument that proven guys out of the portal are probably better to spend money on than high school guys that may not develop. It's tough. It's a tough thing to realize. But I think the most important thing at a place like MSU is the ability to retain your talent when they develop and when they become great and when they've got offers to go elsewhere. That's where I would spend my money. I would spend my money. I mean, I'm not saying you don't have to compete and spend some money to get Nick Marsh, but what you want to do is make sure when Nick Marsh has had a sophomore year where he's all Big Ten and everybody wants him, that there's just no question that you have the money to retain him. That's your guy. He's proven it. He's your guy. You spend your money on your guys. You don't lose your guys to other schools in basketball or football, and you start there. And I think that then you become a place that retains people, that retains culture, that guys know when they go there and they're successful, the money's going to be there. I think that's a good place to be. You want the other thing too, but that is the baseline, right? So if you are doing it like, again, it's hard to do it with what D'Antonio did, and a lot of those guys were miscast as 3 stars. But you want to be able to retain them. I think that's really important. You don't have to be a farm system if you're a developmental program if you have the money to retain people.
The Ernie Harwell of Southern Maine next. I'm so pumped for Paul Johnson to come to MSU in 2 years and bring the offense that is favored by God.
Triple option. That would be awful. I can't believe they ran that with Calvin Johnson.
That is pretty crazy.
Yeah,
It's like Andre Rison coming to Michigan State when
well,
Perlis just threw it left, pitched right.
But back then, everybody ran the veer. That's why I'm not sure any coach should be in the Hall of Fame before 1990.
Hey, save those for July.
Sorry, yeah, we're not quite there yet.
Got a month.
Yeah.
Spartan 231. Obviously, I want Izzo to coach for as long as he can. But with our new AD, I feel more confident that we would steal a top-tier coach from another great program when Izzo retires, rather than a homegrown coach that already knows the system. Is this fair? And bonus, MSU basketball and football will both be top 20 in recruiting after a few years of Batt as our AD. Is he the answer to turning the tide on the football program?
I think he's, we don't know that. I think his pedigree fundraising has to give you hope that he's going to be able to not just tap into the donor base, but reach new donors and elevate that situation, right? And that's got to happen. And whatever, he talked about on that podcast I listened to, the deal with A-Rod, the idea that, and Haller spoke about this. And so, not everything's going to be completely different. Haller wasn't totally off base. He was part of these discussions too. That one of the things revenue sharing is going to do is it is going to make the gap smaller between Purdue and Alabama in terms of who you can afford with talent. And we'll see what's outside in terms of NIL and what gets agreed upon and over time. But it will be a smaller gap. Now, to what degree, I don't know, because ultimately, even if Alabama is spending a lot more money, the fact that Purdue will now have $15 million for football just automatically closes the gap because they're able to retain and recruit some guys and have their share of guys. Everybody's going to be able to have their share of guys. So again, we'll see what he can do. But to the first part on Izzo and the post-Izzo era, I do think when you have a president who's I think is strong as Guskowitz is, and then you have an AD who doesn't have ties, the likelihood that your search and your ties wouldn't be MSU based makes sense. Now that said, I don't think there's an MSU person who makes sense as the successor for Izzo right now. And the other thing is, though, I would say, is like nothing that's happened in terms of getting rid of Alan Haller or hiring J Batt has happened without the approval and maybe prompting of Tom Izzo. And so that, and he's been influential, and he's right now the temporary AD is until J Batt takes over. And he will be part of, I really believe, part of picking his successor. So he will have a hand in it. But certainly you hope you have a strong AD and you hope you have a strong president that also have a hand in it. So because there have been times where Izzo has wanted to hire assistants, for example, that people have had to say that's not a great decision, right? Or not everybody, people have their blind spots, and so you got to make sure you have those protections in place. But Izzo will be part of it, and he should be. He's earned that, and I think MSU should want that because he knows MSU, and he knows what it takes to win at MSU, and he knows what qualities are important in that person.
Back to the white elephant in the room. They don't want to deal with the white elephant in the room.
Alex Mayer, number one, on paper, MSU's AD hire seems like an absolute home run. Will be interesting what he can do with a larger alumni pool and donor base. And two, there shouldn't be any NHL teams south of the Mason-Dixon line.
I feel like there's a press release that said MSU's AD hire was a home run. Everybody said that phrasing has gotten.
I love the positivity today, man.
A lot
of
it's
great.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. There's hope and happiness.
Even Matt C. Yeah, and
Matt C.
By the way, some of you, if you were talking about the AD and you had other takes, I took your AD one out just because it was like, you can see we're getting repetitive here. So there are a lot of people who felt like this that aren't even necessarily included. I don't like NHL teams from the South. That's why I'm rooting for Edmonton over Florida. I don't mind it if there's
you don't like the South, period.
I don't like the South at all.
Yeah.
But also if there's a if there's not a fan base someplace, like Florida doesn't have a fan base. Like what do you, the Florida Panthers don't have a fan base. What Carolina, like okay, maybe a little. Like I want Canadian teams in the original 6. These are the teams I want to see win.
Rocco in Chicago saw some tweets of people scoffing at Indiana's weak non-conference schedule this season. MSU out-of-conference football scheduling moving forward should always be 3 cupcakes. Wins are more important than ratings. 6-3 in the league could get you in the new expanded college football playoff some years. And baked. I wish that the Michigan football cheating NCAA hearing this week was on pay-per-view.
I think a lot of people do. If NCAA hearings were on pay-per-view, people would pay for a lot of things. Like, I would love to see,
Wait, so who's above taking payment? Like, why wouldn't we
well, they're not
get
open
that rolling? Yeah. Why not?
Yeah. Well, if you
How do
were
you
in
do
charge, yeah, that would be great. I would be.
I just feel like if there's money and people willing to watch something for money, anything can happen.
To the point that Rocco makes about Indiana, like I took some shots at their schedule. It's ridiculous. But Indiana fans were offended because they've never been part of this football discussion. Like, what do you mean? It's fine. No. Like everybody, there should be some basic things that you have to do, some criteria you have to meet to be eligible for the playoff. One is you can't play more than 7 home games. We're just going to do that. No more than 7 home games. And then beyond that, you have to play 1 non-conference unless you play 10 conference games. But if you've got 3 non-conference games, one of them has to be a Power 4 team, especially now with the revenue sharing and the way the resources are just further and further apart. Like, it's just ridiculous. Play somebody who's playing at the same level as you in your non-conference, at least once. It's just hard to take those other wins seriously. And Indiana is yet to do that yet, and they're going to take some criticism for it because they're a program now that's got a microscope. They've earned the right to be taken seriously, so part of that is you can't play a bullshit schedule. I like that MSU, look, Boston College is not a world beater. Played them on the road last year, play them at home this year. I like these home and homes. It's at least a team that plays in a power league, and I think that should be the bare minimum.
Professor next. College sports are becoming like Major League Baseball. A few who outspend have so much advantage that it kills the competition. And bonus, if you're going less than the speed limit while in the passing lane on the freeway, you are not allowed to flip off anyone when they pass you in the right lane.
This is the Muskox take of the day, no question about it. This is fantastic. And if you've got a take like this, first of all, your father-in-law probably likes you. A lot of people in your life do. But even so, a Muskox flannel, a great gift for Father's Day. Again, go muskox.com where the Couch and the Rube listeners can use the promo code FIXITINPOST, all one word. I'm telling you, they will. You'll be appreciated. They'll know you care. It's the type of quality and comfort that only a Muskox flannel can provide. Yeah, no, if you're going less than the speed limit in the passing lane, I don't get why you would flip anybody off. Like, what are you doing? You're not supposed to be there. You're the one who deserves to be flipped off. I don't understand.
I had a guy put his windshield wiper fluid on. Like, I was behind him. I'm like, dude, would you just get over? He's doing like 72 in the left lane. He just kept putting his. I was like, what are you doing? I'd rather have just the middle finger. Maybe people who FaceTime with the volume up in public are monsters. And bonus, nobody needs a meal at 2 a.m. Figure it out during daytime or sleep it off until the next day.
I feel like maybe speaking directly to me here. That feels like a personal dig.
Like normal.
Yeah.
Should have just told you that. People who do anything with the volume up on their phone are monsters.
Yeah.
Not just FaceTime. Anything you're doing. If you're doing anything in public and you have your phone on, full blast. Asshole.
It's not cool.
No.
It's not cool. Meal at 2 a.m., I mean, it depends. If you're working late, you're going to work till 6 a.m., but I get it. You really don't need a meal like within 3 or 4 hours before you go to bed. And that's
sounds like you took that personally.
I did take it personally because it felt like she was speaking to me last night. Anyway, it made some bad decisions lately. It happens.
Richard Kane, number 1, Batt leaving Georgia Tech so soon after signing an extension makes me wonder if he's already got one eye on the next job. And bonus, offering $300 for his jersey to a guy who was making $4.9 million is amazing.
That's the story, of course, about me offering Ray Durham $300 million.
Ray Durham was making
$300.
$4.9 million.
He was a big year. That's amazing back then too. 2000.
Jesus.
Yeah. No. If you hadn't heard that story, you can listen back to our previous podcast. I was really now that I think about it, $300. I wanted to pay him for the jersey though. If I was going to buy the jersey off its back, it felt like I at least ought to offer what it's
But that just
worth.
speaks volumes about you. Like, even though that you were really young and it was in 2000, the fact that you thought in any capacity that a Major League Baseball player would just go, oh yeah, absolutely, here.
I was pretty.
Give me that $300. You got $100 bills or
I was
20s?
pretty smitten, man. I don't know what to.
Yeah, but
what
your
to say.
smitten story would have been better than offering $300 to a guy that makes $4.5 million a year.
True,
is all
true.
I'm saying.
Yes.
I would have been,
I did go up and spend $300 on a authentic jersey, then to come back and try to make the autograph happen. That was, by the way, a story we're telling, presented by our friends at Midtown Brewing Company. Awesome place for trivia on Tuesdays, date night any night, brunch on the weekends. Sunday brunch there is fantastic, and great place to just park at a bar stool, watch the Tigers, have an American stout, and if they're playing a day game too, and you're here working in downtown Lansing, just get away, go take your laptop, pretend you're working. Hang out at Midtown Brewing Company, 402 South Washington Avenue.
Sparty Barb next. J Batt needs to rebrand and replace MSU's existing NIL collectives. The current collectives do not have enough engagement with alumni. Excuse me. There are over 500,000 of us, and while we are all not billionaires, we can be influential in marketing and promoting Spartan Nation. Bonus. Ben Shelton is the future of American tennis. What a match.
It was incredible. The most entertaining thing that I saw this weekend.
Can't believe I missed it.
Xfinity
What time was it
Comcast.
on? Was it early?
Yeah, it was like there was like a when did it end? It was like 10 a.m. to 10 to 1. Basically, it was like a 3-hour match.
All right.
Yeah, it was really good.
Bad.
No, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't like their 5 a.m. starts. That sometimes you got to bet on a match at 5 a.m. You're like, I don't want to get up for that. I'm not doing that. It's a little early. I hope it goes well.
Grind.
To Sparty Barb's comment about the rebranding or replacing the collectives, it'll be interesting to see the impact they have. And I do think the outreach, I think the collectives have been awful at sort of including other people and engaging with other fans. They're just not good at it. It's just not a strength that they have. People want to shit on Alan Haller. Well, these billionaires have not been great at, making other people, maybe everybody else's money is chump change. If it is, just say it. Otherwise, welcome it. And really, people that you could, as political campaigns have learned, you can make a lot of money with a lot of small donations. And there are a lot of people who want to see MSU football win. And so it would be interesting to see if you could create some wing of a collective, at least, that was like, small donor collective, and everybody was responsible for paying for the offensive line. You'd feel good about that if you were just Joe Dude down the street, like that would be something to do. And they do need to reach out, but the athletic director needs to do that. There are untapped areas of potential donors and revenue that could be found, and that's a big part of his job. And to Richard Kane's first point previously, the idea that makes him leaving Georgia Tech early makes him wonder. If he's already got one eye on the next job beyond MSU. He's 43 years old. He may not retire at MSU. But, if you talk to, the stuff I read at Georgia Tech, a lot of people think he set them up nicely. If, I don't know that, if he comes in and gives MSU 5 years and MSU's in really good shape at a pivotal moment, I think that's okay.
Matt Drolet, when sports tournaments are televised for a week or more, like the French Open, sponsors must be required to come up with at least 10 different versions of their commercials so we don't have to watch the same damn commercial 300 times in 2 weeks.
That would be nice. Or just, yeah.
Congrats, Matt. Graham, send him a gift card.
Another Muskox take of the day. No, this would be.
I have to say, not just week-long tournaments. I think any sporting event, period, you have to have it. Why don't you just have 3 or 4 versions?
Yeah.
I would ask that if I were a celebrity in one of these commercials. I go, we have to do at least 4 versions of this. I can't have the same one airing. People are going to hate me, no matter who I am.
We'll talk to our friends over at Xfinity and see what they can do. There might be maybe there's something they can ask. Maybe they do live reads like we do, and it's a little different each time. You have somebody come in and do a live read.
Always a company man. This guy can't even have a conversation. It's unbelievable.
What do you want me to do?
I don't know. John Kalmar next. Graham's disdain for grown men wearing jerseys makes more sense, knowing he pleaded to buy a jersey off an athlete's back. It's always been a cautionary tale, so we don't end up like 20-year-old Couch. Your humility should be applauded. Thank you for your service.
Yeah, I don't want anybody to wind up like me. That's just what I'm looking out for.
The fact that you thought it could work is,
it would have worked.
Girl aside.
Hold on, it would have worked. I don't think the key to the story not working is not the plan. The plan was happening. Ray Durham agreed to it. It was when I came back in after the press conference, after the game, into the clubhouse, And the PR guy saw me with a jersey because he'd already told me no.
Yeah, but who does that? No wonder Ray Durham wanted to sign it. There's some weirdo with a jersey in there.
Again,
the Monica Seles thing was 5 years prior to 2000. You remember that? Remember the Monica Seles thing? So he's probably like, yeah, get this guy the hell out of here and make sure he never comes back in here.
When you're into somebody, you're into somebody. I was trying to. I was 20 years old. I was punching above my weight. I was trying to seal the deal here. These are the things you do. I don't know what else to say.
All right,
I'm not going to apologize.
Owen, as of right now, there are no obvious trade moves for the Tigers to make. Don't force anything. See how things go when everyone is back healthy in June and go from there.
I agree. I think you're 18, 19 games over 500.
I want to agree.
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
I do want to agree. But like you mentioned, the run differential hasn't moved or budged in a month. That's all.
Yeah, and I would say if I would quietly look around at perhaps people you think could be available. I'm not saying you don't start doing your homework.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's behind the scenes stuff right now.
I trust Harris. T-Bone's dad, number one, there is a huge silver lining to a few Tigers starting pitchers being on the IL for short-term injuries and Skubal being pulled after 90 pitches this weekend. Not trying to bubble wrap these dudes, but the rest sets them up for game 163 and beyond. And two, for a July show idea, you could have listeners submit their best Firekeepers college football and NFL future bets a la Graham and his strong Tigers futures he discussed last show. Bring on Harry, then litigate/rate us on our poor decisions.
I actually like this. We could do sort of a listener's futures bet. I think this is a great idea for a show in late July or even early. I think even in August, before football season. Yeah. When people, this is a great idea for a show, T-Bones. This is a tremendous idea. Another Muskox performance.
To his number one though, but do we have to be just so mysterious about the injuries? I know it's a baseball thing, but like when Job went down and they shut down the locker room and there was all this, you know what I mean? Like, all right, it's a long season. I know you have to send guys to the injured list, but like, why does it have to be all weird?
And I'm torn on the Job. Job has not had Tommy John yet, has he? Anytime? No. Well, he's going to have it. So don't you want him, like, to me, have him out for these 2 years before Skubal's gone and then have him back when Skubal's gone.
Casey Mize, I got to say, I can't sit there and go, yeah, the Tommy John thing. Go ahead. Because it was Casey Mize went through it. It was fucking forever.
It was brutal. Yeah.
So you know what I mean? I know what you're saying, but it's just like, nah, I just would rather.
Because you know me, I would if people wanted to be pitchers in middle school, I'd just cut them open and get the Tommy John done.
Smart. Thomas, the Tigers need to either shoot some water through the glorified car dealership sign in the center field or stop calling it a fountain. I honestly don't remember seeing a water fixture there in the past 10 years.
This is well said. I hadn't thought about it. I love when somebody has a pet peeve that's driving them nuts, and this is the place to get those off your chest. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Get it on your chest. Dunfield Keg, I love that we are trying to figure out how many pizzas we have to buy to keep Skubal. Let's just fan source Major League Baseball players' salaries like NIL. You know, these billionaires just can't catch a break these days.
Yeah, it is frustrating that it would. But we'd all be willing to do it.
That's how these guys became billionaires. I'll pay you money.
Well, the thing that's different about what's going on with Chris Ilitch and then
what is going on with him?
What I mean is he's making money off the Tigers. The other guys are not making money for NIL. They're just being asked to give money without return on investment. So like it's even different. Like there's zero excuse for Ilitch, especially if they keep selling out the park on the weekends the way they are right now. They've got to be making good money.
I know it's crazy, but when we have good teams, we show up.
Yes,
to watch said good teams. What is the fucking problem? Corey Ostrom, a 16-team college football playoff is perfect tournament scheduling for college football. Seed 1 through 16 with 0 buys, because no team deserves a bye, and play it out. TV and Big Ten and SEC commissioners would disagree, but the tournament would be better this way for fans and teams.
Yeah, I like the 12 team, and I do like the bye. I don't think the bye works as much the way it was set up last year with the seeding, and I don't think conference championships are at all needed anymore. Conference championship games, I should say. But I don't hate 16 either. I do like.
But
the
you
bye.
knew it was coming, right? Like you like 12, 100%. But you know.
Yeah, I have more of an issue with the auto bids. What's interesting about the idea of getting 4 automatic bids is I do think you could have like. Within the Big Ten, say there were 4 auto bids, it could be fun. Like, there are 4 spots. So you think about just the drama within the standings to get into the top 4. It's not left up to a selection committee. And then there was talk about playing games like they do in soccer where teams 3 would play 6 and 4 would play 5 and only 1 and 2 would be automatically. And there's lots of ways to have it fun and keep lots of people engaged. And while that's cool, Just the audacity to think that you always deserve more bids than another league when you've already poached these leagues to some degree. It's just bullshit, and it takes away from the legitimacy of a championship or legitimacy of a playoff in years where you're not. The Big Ten has down years where they're not as strong at the top. The SEC is sometimes overrated, and most years they're going to get. If they go to 16 teams, the Big Ten and SEC, which have 34 of the teams and a lot of advantage, are going to have 8 of the teams in. It's going to be 4-4 at least most years. But to require it, to protect yourself from the down years, I think is just asinine.
Andrew Zuiza next. If 25% of us stop watching college football for a year, the impact would be noticed immediately in week 1 and cause enough alarm for broadcasters to lobby for change. It might even be fewer. If 25% watch, 50% fewer games. Either way, the stories would be more fun to read than most of the games. And bonus, my random celebrity encounter is Izzo. I was running toward him and Lupe as they were walking early morning down Michigan Ave in Chicago. And as I got closer and realized who it was, I didn't know what to say. So I just said, Tom, as if I were greeting an old acquaintance. I was like, Tom.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, Tom.
That it could do worse. You could ask.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Ask how much chocolate milk he's had or something. You could do that instead. It could be really awkward.
I did that with Mike Poplawski once at the Michigan Athletic Club years and years ago. He turned the corner and I was shooting hoops and I just saw him. I go, Pep.
What did he say?
He just like, what the fuck is this guy?
He
gave me the finger up, like, hey, like, the thing, the head nod, I think.
Yeah, story worth telling.
Not worse than John Daly.
No.
At least looked at me. Yeah. Mr. Benjen, number 1, Braylon Hodge, just quote unquoted committed. Just quote unquote committed. He'll never play it down at MSU. And 2, let's remember some guys I missed just for their names: Edong Ebok, Sir Darian Adams, Little John Flowers, Keith Nickel. No S, and the Red Cedar message board's all-time fave, Calvin Torbert, or Tolbart. Your turn.
Oh man, I wasn't prepared for this. I don't all-time favorites. Sir Darian Adams is a great name. So is Little John Flowers. They're like very much medieval. I dig that quite a bit. To the commitment post that it's true. I don't really share stories or. For a football commitment to be somebody that I would write about or think was worthy of analysis at this point would have to be somebody so big that even if MSU lost them, the fact that they landed them at one point would be a story. You know what I mean? Like the commitment itself would have to be worth newsworthy beyond whether they ever played for him. It's like that would have to, in football, I should say, not basketball.
MZA, number 1, Batt is a great hire who will know how to pound the bushes and make MSU competitive in terms of NIL in basketball and football.
Pound the bushes.
That is the assignment, and I think he's aware of it, and that's why he's been hired. So that's what he has to do, and it's pretty simple. And this is about football. Let's start there. I mean, rev sharing does not exist with basketball. Basketball has gotten a ridiculous amounts of money and needs to get over itself a little bit. This is a football world.
Moneybag, best way for Batt to get the fan base behind him, now that we don't already love the hire, is to cancel the CMU series in this first week. Show us you're going to stand up for us and not accept bullshit.
Yeah, that seems petty and standoffish. I'm not saying you can't have a moment where you do that. Like, if you're going to cancel the CMU series, I would do it without an announcement. I would do it behind the scenes, like 6 months in, and all of a sudden you announce another game in that spot, and everybody's like, what happened to the CMU game? You're like, I didn't feel that was. If you're going to do it, like, that's the baller way to do it. Like, I wouldn't do that right away, and I'm not saying they have to do it. I think, it's a new AD. CMU's a rival that should be beyond what happened there. I have mixed feelings about the idea that MSU should cancel it. But if you're going to do it, I wouldn't do it as some, like, this is my stand to go against CMU.
Tim Horton, next, number 1, the CMU stuff doesn't bother me. Play another home series and kick their shit in if you're so mad at them. If we don't pay them to play, someone else will. Gator Humper McElwain is gone, so who cares? And 2, doing exactly the speed limit with someone behind you is hilarious.
A lot of issues going on the roads. Be careful out there.
Really fucking hilarious.
Yeah, don't. I
love it. Don't. Wish it were legal to tap somebody and watch them spin out.
I used to dream of I wish you had like a lasso or something. You could lasso a car and throw it off the road.
All right.
Yeah.
A lasso. What the fuck are you talking about?
I don't know. You're not
I thought
going
you were going to say monster truck or like something fucking cool.
Yeah, no,
I had a Latho. I just had a Latho for these guys doing all the slow driving.
These are the things I think about.
Jesus. Scotty Green's El Camino. New AD seems like a home run, but hold up. J Batt? What the fuck? Why can't people just be called by their normal name? I guess it's G Couch from now on.
Absolutely.
And bonus, Stephen A. Smith can shut the hell up anytime. I literally change the channel when he's on ESPN. The guy gets paid way too much for yelling at people with horrible takes. And F the Knicks.
Yeah, the ratings say otherwise. That's why they pay him. I mean, people can dislike him, but I feel like even if you dislike him, a lot of people still watch him because that's why they pay him like $25 million a year. I mean, the numbers, they don't pay people.
Where are the numbers? What numbers do you see?
I don't see them.
Like, how much does First Take, like,
the First Take does well.
For what? For the daytime part for a sports show.
Yeah.
It does fine.
It does better than
But Judge Judy probably crushes it.
Guiding Light, yeah. But yes.
But he's just everywhere. Like, spread the money around and have multiple. Anyway. Couch on Fire, number 1, OKC versus Indiana. Really? Is anyone watching? And bonus, Haller may just be a victim of the Peter principle and was promoted to a level of incompetence. From Graham's views of him, he is an excellent assistant AD, focused on the operational side of the house.
Yeah, I think he was a good AD in a lot of ways. But it was clear with, and maybe it would have worked if for whatever reason he had better relationships with a couple really key donors, and maybe the whole thing's better. But he didn't, and this is a time where you need money, and fundraising clearly wasn't his strength. Otherwise he'd still be there for sure. And the idea is anybody's watching OKC versus Indiana, the NBA needs to get over this idea of market size. Like the NFL, we don't care if it's Kansas City versus Green Bay. Like that sounds awesome. And OKC is the best team. They're going to be around forever. And once they win a title, people are going to recognize them as like a really good watch. And Indiana's a good watch. I don't think outside of the markets. I understand that people like New York would draw more people. The Knicks draw more people. Boston maybe draws more people. But Indiana OKC to me is a really
Caitlin Clark's going to be at the games.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, she will be at the home games. Right?
All right. Yeah. DMB. Will Greg Doyle be there? DMB, home run hire by MSU. Time to clean house in the athletic department and pound the bushes. Bonus. I canceled my subscription with LSJ and joined MLive. Better customer service and local Kalamazoo coverage. The LSJ promo ran out and went up to $20 a month. Do better, Couch.
So the question, I got quite a few responses what people would pay for a LSJ subscription, and I do think that the number is going to go down. I didn't realize it had gotten up to 20 for some people.
Wait, he's not joking?
For some people, yeah. Check your amount. We may be
what the fuck?
We may be hitting you like $54 a month. My mother pays like $78 a month or something for the whole deal.
What a Ponzi scheme.
Entirely. But I think $12.99 might be like the max for like. And so it's going to go down if you're in a spot like that. Let me know if you want to keep the subscription. But also, if you live in Kalamazoo, I'm not going to stop you from subscribing to the Kalamazoo Gazette. I think that's always good.
Are you paying $20 a month? Oh yeah, you just have to contact Couch. That shouldn't be a hassle. Sinners Dog 97. If J Batt got those fucking nerds at Georgia Tech to care about anything besides computers, it bodes well for MSU's future. I like the hire. Who doesn't like the hire? Anybody?
And Georgia Tech, by the way, cares about college football.
They do.
They do care about college
You're telling me they do.
I've seen a couple people who were like either big Haller fans or whatever. But for the most part, this seems pretty unanimous because I think it is one of those hires that definitely it's hard to poke holes in because he checks a lot of boxes.
Daniel Patterson, is Kevin Guskowitz, Gussie, gone yet? Loser.
Whoa.
What does J stand for? Is it jump from job to job? Can't trust these Southern yokel sellouts. They don't bleed Spartan green.
There we go. There's the other side of it. Yeah.
Just scroll down a little bit.
Yeah, Guskowitz is still the president. Yeah.
Gussie. Spartan 18770 level-headed take. If you don't trust us at the store self-checkout, then hire more cashiers, motherfuckers. Bonus.
Angry F-bombs, yeah.
Starting next month, the show will air 7 days a week and be renamed Deep Seek and the Rube. What does that mean?
I don't know. Do I want to Google DeepSeek? That's not like a porn term, is it? Give me some hops.
You're such a weird.
I worry about that.
How would you come up with that? No one was thinking about porn. You're the only one.
Let's see here.
DeepSeek?
I don't know.
What a creep.
I am the passenger.
DeepSeek looks like a artificial intelligence thing. Okay, I don't.
Right.
Oh yeah, I don't know what. I don't know where we're at here.
Couch goes right to porn every time.
Sorry. Yeah.
Original Dark Mantonio, Bill Belichick is not the greatest head coach, was mediocre before Brady and worse after, And we all know what Tom did after he left the Patriots. So, yeah, that's right. He's terrible. He's a shit coach.
He was great for a lot of years.
No, he's ass.
Great for a lot of years.
The worst coach ever.
Yeah.
No, 19 Super Bowls. It's unbelievable.
There are a lot. I mean, the guy won 6 Super Bowls, and I know Brady was great.
Yeah, but he won like 9 if you count the Giants or something like that when he was assistant.
Well, and then he won one before Brady was really Brady. Like Brady's career.
Brady was born, he was winning Super Bowls.
What I mean is Brady was sort of like just a game manager at the beginning. He wasn't the guy he became later on. So I'm going to respectfully disagree.
I got to say the Tampa Super Bowl did not help the case for Bill Belichick.
No.
I will say that. Some dude, number one, I'm with you guys on the futures strategies. Place a big bet for football. As long as you get within a game or two, you can get it all back by hedging. Made a small fortune on MSU over 4.5 last year with negative odds, and also had them at over 5.5. Lost that one, but hedged the hell out of it and ended up winning. 2, it's reassuring to know that Kevin G knows a bush pounder when he sees one. And 3, the best thing about all the Detroit teams being so much better is my renewed interest in all of these leagues.
Yeah, well, yeah,
it is nice.
It's a lot better than it was a couple years ago. That's
great.
For sure. Yeah. Look, I do think, and maybe we really should do this with the college football and NFL bets on futures picks, and I just think it's the best way, especially if it keeps you from like impulsively making bad emotional bets during the season. And having good futures is fun to be able to root for.
Tyler, Lions alternate over 8.5 wins at -220 is a hot parlay starter, and this was probably put in before Ragnow retiring. Bonus, you guys wear sizes 13 and 14, an impressive combined 27. Is there another studio on Earth that packs such incredible length
and girth? Yeah, no, that's a good question. Yeah, it's quite a
such a waste of feet.
It is.
Nothing else going on. Lions reply guy: if the Lions had the Eagles' health fortune last year, 21 of 22 Week 1 starters played in the Super Bowl, they would have ran through the playoffs with little resistance, and this entire offseason would be talked about as the next dynasty. Their roster is incredibly talented and young. And not a take, but need to give Graham an opportunity to mix something in mid-show, since he'll answer the same 200 questions regarding the AD as if each one is the first one. Jason, you said you'd never go to the NFL draft. Would you go to the Super Bowl parade? The Lions Super Bowl parade, or like any?
No, the Lions Super Bowl parade.
1,000%. How are they even the same in the same category?
Yeah,
it means we won the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
it'd be the greatest day of my life.
Yeah.
All right, Clint, One Ball Bainey, number one. Looks like MSU gets a pass on its new AD hire. He seems to get the new landscape and what it's going to take. 2, a top 15 ranking in donations is impressive despite how mediocre we have been lately. And 3, young Spartan fans watch 80s footage of Scott Skiles, the definitive Spartan warrior.
Scott Skiles is like my earliest basketball memories at MSU. I'm telling you, unbelievable player. And it's weird that some people think he's a jerk or whatever, but he's just not around very much. Like, of all the former Michigan State players, he's the one you see around the least. And I don't know why that is. I mean, because he would be. I think
he probably enjoys being at home and just hanging out.
Yeah.
Why does he have to go all the way here?
That's fair. Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Adam, you guys need a show with live favorably ratings like they do for presidential debates. People can express whether they like or dislike the current conversation. Then there will be evidence that no one cares about Graham's soccer picks or Dorky United, his favorite team.
Adam. We don't need that. We don't need evidence, We're gonna ride blind like newspapers did for 100 years, not knowing what people actually read.
Do we really need rankings? It's pretty obvious. Jay Riemenschneider, all of this Urban Meyer talk from MSU fans is false hope. I agree with you, Graham, that it probably wouldn't be a good fit, and I'll go a step further and say he would be just as bad as MSU's coach as he was as Jacksonville's coach. And from Skylar Verdon. Some fans are out on Jonathan Smith because they still yearn for Urban Meyer, and it feels like they're talking to a married guy who still longs for his high school crush he never even talked to. Urban never coached here, and he's never going to, so get over it. It's starting to get pathetic.
Yeah, I mean, the degree that Urban Meyer was ever, there people may have better sourcing than me. I know there were definitely donors who were interested in him. High-level donors. To what degree that was ever going to happen, it certainly wasn't Alan Haller's intent. And Jonathan Smith's your coach. He's going to be your coach for a while. I think people should lean in and hope he does well.
John, when it comes to college baseball and softball, it feels like the Midwest misses out on what could be exciting seasons, mainly because they start in the dead of winter.
100%. If college baseball wants to be taken seriously nationally, it would start later and go to through July.
Ken Chu, the Oilers will have to match the Panthers' intensity and physicality without taking penalties to win the cup.
Let's hope they do. I'm going to be rooting for the Oilers. I put some money on them to add to the rooting, and it's like minus 130. Hate the Panthers.
I could see that game going one way or the other.
TK, in honor of Pride Month, Graham should publicly apologize to the LGBT community for throwing that gay guy down the stairs to his death.
Okay, that's not what happened.
It's unbelievable. You just can't shake this.
We need to be clear that that's not a story.
Pride Month is just a terrible time for you.
It's not. No,
you have to keep explaining.
Yeah, that's not what happened.
You're a changed person.
TK, I didn't need that. Didn't need that from you there.
Can a man live? Former killer. David Ass. What? This guy's last name is Ass?
I don't know if I wrote that wrong.
Pacers this year are the most fun team to watch since the 16-17 Warriors. And fuck the Knicks. Bonus. Aviators on the golf course are ass. He's talking about Ben Griffin.
Oh, gotcha.
By the way, Sepp Straka, top 5. Told you.
Okay.
Mr. Neurotic Pants. Number 1, between the extra costs, money taking over, and so many other disruptions to traditions, sports as a spectator event might become less prominent in America. I love baseball, and I haven't watched the Tigers in years. All right.
Yeah, sports are still going to do well. And live TV, it's what people pay for. It's what people still have commercials for. I think, I understand everybody's interest changed. I became a soccer fanatic in my 40s. But, I do think sports are going to make it. I just do.
MSU Tony, golf spectators at tournaments are ass. Hearing get in the hole after almost every swing drove me insane. And bonus, late take, Spurs winning the Europa League is more equivalent to winning the Big Ten basketball conference tournament than the NIT. Do some schools care about it? Yes. Is there an incentive to winning it? Yes. Is it really that meaningful? No, not really.
Yeah, it's above the NIT. I probably should, yeah. But it's you get the point. Like the idea that they party for weeks on this thing is a little absurd.
Shep, golf tournament, getting the whole guy and grown man wearing a jersey to the game guy are the same person. And Shep doesn't like anything.
Oh yeah, but
Shep, what do you like?
Getting the whole guy sucks.
Oh, big time.
I mean, I just
wear a jersey to a Lions game, so I take offense to
I see. But getting the whole guy, I just don't totally. I don't understand that guy.
Baba Booey guy is really impressive too. Howard Stern hasn't been relevant in like a decade. Steve Whitico, number 1 Tottenham take. Americans choose them because they hadn't won anything, so they could claim they didn't just pick a Lakers or Yankees while still being the front runners that they are. That said, I would celebrate more than they did if Fulham won. Great squad to watch with at Ozones too. Number 2, size 14. Trough take makes sense now. Sometimes a hog's got to eat. Not enough mention of Dylan Dingler's impact on this run, top 50 in WAR. And 3, second best story in baseball is the Mets director for SNY TV, John DeMarsico. Great Twitter follow for baseball/film lovers.
Thanks for the recommendation. Now my trough love has nothing to do with my size 14 feet, and I understand the...
Just drop your mule down there.
Yeah, that's not what we're
Fart suit, number 1, pissing in nature is a top 3 sensation. Pulling over to piss on the side of the highway, top something.
Sorry, I missed it.
Graham cut it off. Top 1. 2, Mrs. Fart Soup called me uncivilized.
I don't know why. I do know she hates being called Mrs. Fart Soup. That is the one thing I am very, very sure about. I've met Mrs. Fart Soup. She's lovely.
On the side of the highway. I just don't want to get a charge though.
Oh, hit a rail or something with it?
No, dude. All of a sudden you have your mule out and there's a cop.
Right, yeah.
Hey, man.
Yeah, or a child walks by. It's not good.
Well,
it's not good.
Now you got to bring a child.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Jake Hoggins, number 1. So MSU has a new athletic director. Cool beans. Been seeing and hearing that it's a great home run hire and that most are expecting MSU to win championships immediately. Let's tone it down and see how J Batt does. He has a confidence vote from me. And 2, so the SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey will fine his schools $500K for fans rushing courts and fields. But he doesn't want to add a ninth conference game so the Big Ten and SEC can't play each other in the regular season? What the fuck? Being the best means competing against the best. And 3, while winning 2 of 3 games against the Royals is good and his 14th series win by the Tigers, I still say cool it on any possible World Series talk. I also still say Jace Richardson should come back to MSU for 1 more year. He can make more money in NIL. I can dream, right?
I love how Jake puts in a 4th or 5th take by just starts, compound sentences. Jake, you're playing chess here. The rest of us are playing checkers. Appreciate you, man.
And finally, the upper deck jerk guy. If Batt doesn't get a Duffy Doherty statue outside Spartan Stadium, I will consider him a failure. And bonus, the world isn't flat and it isn't round. It's an oblate spheroid.
Thank you for your deep thoughts, Upper Deck Jerk Guy. Thank you all for your thoughts, your takes, and for supporting us and producing our show. You know, we appreciate you more than you know. We appreciate Muskox Flannels. Go muskox.com. Fix It in Post is the promo code. Father's Day just around the corner. We appreciate our friends at Groovy Donuts, friends at Xfinity, Comcast, and, of course, Midtown Brewing Company. We'll be back Friday. I'm out of town for the next 3 days. I'll be back Friday with your Groovy Donut Twitter questions. National Donut Day is Friday. Prepare yourselves. Good show, man.
Yeah, man.
Couch in the Roof.